If you had the opportunity to start over the last 10 years of your life, would you do it? That's the premise of the book The Year We Turned 40 by Liz Fenton and Lisa Steinke. Awesome premise, and I've heard really good things about this one, but I want to know from regular contributor Karoline Bordeau, what was the execution like? Because it's one thing to have a good premise. Was it pulled off properly? What are your thoughts on this one?
I loved a lot about this book. I loved the pacing, like it wasn't too slow and it wasn't too fast. Because I was worried, like, oh boy, are we going to be hearing too much about day to day boring stuff that they regret or not? Or is it going to move along? And I found that it moved along beautifully. Um, and I thought that the dialogue was witty. I found myself laughing. Um, I just thought everything about it was really well done.
What's
Um,
the I have a hunch that this book's the type of thing that's trying to really tell you a message. Am I wrong in this?
Not at all. So, I think the message, and I'm not going to give away what happens at the end. I'm not going to give away spoilers, but the message is that we really need to think about every day that we're living, and try to think about it as though there is no do-over, because in our lives there really are no do-overs. These ladies, these three characters, got to go and have a do-over, but we don't. And I think, the message to me from what the author was trying to say is, if you can do something better, why not start doing it better now? Um, so
Huh.
yeah, that's the message I got from it.
So when I hear this type of message, it sounds to me like it could also be misinterpreted as to be very careful in the decisions you make now because you don't want to make a mistake. Right? Like the idea of a do over kind of makes you think of all the mistakes that you've done in the past 10 years,
Mhm.
right? Um, do you think people could misinterpret it that way?
Totally. Um, and so the one example that I really liked is Claire, one of the characters. Her mother um, is dying of cancer, and she didn't know or didn't follow a hunch she had. So she had a hunch that something was wrong with mom. She kept telling mom to go to a doctor, but didn't really push her. Um, and when she went back to do her do-over, she gets on it a lot earlier and gets a little more time with mom. Um,
Hmm.
and gets a lot more of a close relationship with mom. Um, and I think, like, those are things. So if you have a hunch about something, I say follow it.
Huh. So it's kind of like to live as if you were already in your do over, in the do over part
Yeah,
of your life, right? um,
right.
I find it strange because this doesn't seem to be like a fantasy book or anything. Like, what's the tone? What's the genre? Because these three people get the opportunity to start over the last 10 years of their lives. Like, what genre is this?
I don't even know what it was classified under. I thought it was fiction.
Well, what does it feel like?
It does. It feels like fantasy to me because there's
Hmm.
that whole, like, you're at a party and there's a magician and they're offering to take you back, but everybody has to agree to go back. Um, and then the same thing happens at the end. Do you go back to your 50th year or do you stay here? Um, and so it definitely has like a fantasy kind of feel to it.
Fantasy feel, fantasy light maybe could make for a good introduction to
Yes,
fantasy for
definitely
people who are
fantasy
kind of
like.
like scared away from that genre. Caroline, thank you so much for the review. Before we go, what's your score rating for this 1 out of 5?
I liked this one. I'm gonna give it a 4.
4. That's a solid review.
Yeah, I'd
That
say so.
was regular contributor Karoline Bordeau with her review of The Year We Turned 40 by Liz Fenton and Lisa Steinke.